It seems like every time I read an article or see a video concerning Elon Musk, he's either portrayed as a devil or a saint, making him out to be an almost supremely evil fraudster or an almost supernaturally perfect gifted person might be great for getting readers or viewers, but can either of these be close to the truth? Let's consider this. Hey y'all, it's Dr. Know-It-All. I would hope most people would get the correct answer to this question that I posed in the introduction from the title of the video, but it seems like there's an awful lot of people who cannot see the humanity of Elon Musk, so I want to just kind of go through some of the arguments against him and some of the arguments for him, in other words, the devil argument and the saint argument, and finally talk about why he's actually just a human being, and in my personal opinion, a relatively good one who tries hard. So let's start with the devil argument, which is basically that Elon Musk is a fraudster. In other words, he's sort of like Trevor Milton from Nikola Motors. Do your own research, of course, just alleged stuff. But anyway, there's this sense in which he is just a huckster who's pumping up things that are not real, and that he's really, really good at manipulating people and manipulating stocks, but he doesn't produce anything useful. So one argument on this front is that electric vehicles, or EVs, are not competitive with gas cars in price or performance, or they're actually worse for the environment than gas cars. Now, of course, this is a somewhat older argument, and it's been sort of debunked just because of the facts. By all indications, these cars are actually better for the environment over the life of the vehicles. So that's an actually older argument from a couple of years ago. Of course, another one that's a couple of years old but is still being touted all the time is that as soon as real car companies get going, Tesla is going to be out-manufactured and out-competed. While that argument is very much still ongoing, it's also becoming fairly obvious that Tesla is going to be able to ramp up at a very, very rapid pace. Maybe they won't be the largest car manufacturer in the world in 10 years. I happen to think they will be, but certainly the chance of them going bankrupt or being eaten up by the competition is vanishingly small at this point. They would have to execute horribly to get into that situation. Another more current argument is that full self-driving is never going to happen, or at least Tesla's version of it will not. So option one is that full self-driving is just a fool's quest and it will never happen, period. Now that argument actually may turn out to be true. I don't personally think it will be, but you know, until it gets solved, everything is impossible until it happens. So until it actually gets solved, we can't know that for sure. But definitely people are getting pretty darn close. And if you look at the state of full self-driving in 1995 versus the state of full self-driving in 2020, 2021, there's a pretty big difference between these two. And that indicates to me that, let's say at the outside, we've got 10 more years to go before full self-driving is complete and on the roads and everybody's got it. Now, again, in my personal opinion, it's going to happen within the year. Now, I don't think regulatorily that's going to be the case, but I really do think that Tesla's full self-driving version 9 is basically full self-driving as it's meant to be, like level 5, or at least an advanced level 4 full self-driving. And then of course there's that corollary argument that Tesla's version of full self-driving will not work. And that is that you need LiDAR and you need radar and you need all of these other sensors in order for it to work. And I have an entire video on that up here, so you can just watch that if you're interested. But basically I say that Tesla, because of their advanced data lead, they're the only ones who can actually see really at this point how full self-driving can be solved. In other words, everybody else is down in a valley and Tesla has climbed up the data cliff, and they're at the top of the cliff and they can look around and they can see the landscape, and so they're in a much better position to tell us what technology is necessary to solve full self-driving than anybody else at this point. Turning to SpaceX, the big argument is that SpaceX is not cheaper than other launchers. Only government subsidies and some leisure demand, some sleight of hand make it seem that way. And if you haven't seen it yet, I did a whole video debunking Thunderfoot's comparison that said that the space shuttle and the Falcon 9 are just as expensive, which is not really true. So anyway, watch that video if you're interested, but I don't have a lot of time to go into that in this particular video, but that is not really the case. And it's quite evident that with this reusability of rockets, SpaceX is actually putting things into orbit much more efficiently and cost effectively than other companies are. Then of course we can turn to the Boring Company, and the argument is that they're only doing work other companies have done before. I think it's kind of interesting timing. I'm recording this video before Tesla's Delivery Day event today, but it will be released after that, and I will do a video about the Delivery Day later. But one thing that did happen today is that the Las Vegas Convention Center loop with the Teslas on it and the Boring Company tunnel went public today, and so the reviews have actually been very, very positive so far that I have seen. Turning to Neuralink, the argument is that Neuralink is only doing things that other companies have done before also. So that's kind of the same argument as the Boring Company, and that they're saying that they're doing a lot more stuff than they currently are. Again, I happen to disagree with that. I did a video on the monkey brain thing where they are actually showing the monkey controlling Pong. And if you watch that, I think I show a pretty good argument that Neuralink really is ahead, and they've made pretty major advances on the state of the art in neurological integration between chips and brains. So anyway, that's the 4 companies he owns. He's also involved in OpenAI as well, but I don't have time to get into the nitty-gritty of all these arguments. But basically the Elon is devil argument is that he's not nearly as smart as he says, but they will grant him this. He's a really good salesman. In other words, he's a fraudster. He pumps up stock, he gets people excited about vaporware, and then people get super excited, and then it doesn't happen, and people have bought into his stock and everything, and he's made a ton of money, but everybody else is losing money. And so it's basically a giant sort of Ponzi scheme or something along those lines. So again, the argument is he is much more like Trevor Milton, again, allegedly, pumping stock, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, etc., and then dumping it to help his own pockets at the expense of all of us poor masses. And of course, this camp says if you ever say a good word about Elon Musk, you're cast out. So I expect to get a lot of nasty comments from this video just from people watching from that camp. Then of course, there's the opposite camp, which is that Elon Musk is a saint. And interestingly enough, I will probably get a lot of negative comments from those people as well, saying, how dare you say anything against Elon Musk? He's perfect. He's never made a mistake in his life. From this camp, there's sort of a tongue-in-cheek acknowledgement that Elon Musk is actually an alien who's been sent to Earth to help us poor human beings, which is a sort of modern day evolution of a religious figure. Anyway, from this point of view, every move that Tesla has ever made has been genius and without fault. SpaceX can do no wrong, same with the Boring Company and Neuralink, and Elon Musk is the only one standing between us and the AI singularity gone wrong. Again, in the Elon is a saint camp, Musk is one of the most intelligent people to ever walk the Earth, which by the way I will agree with, and you should never ever say a bad word against him. And then there's category 3, which is that Elon Musk is a human being like the rest of us. Now, I will definitely acknowledge he's an extremely special human being, right? He's clearly extremely smart, and at the same time, he's clearly extremely motivated. By all accounts, he works about 100 hours a week, which is just a lot. And I mean, like every week. It's not just like work 100 hours for a couple of weeks and then take a vacation, right? So that's a very special combination, someone who's that smart and that motivated. And of course, Elon Musk was very successful from a young age, which most of us are not. And of course, as most people know, he has a huge vision. He wants to make the world greener. He wants to get humans to a backup planet, or Mars or something like that. He wants to help human beings survive and thrive after the AI singularity, and he wants to help those with disabilities in the meantime. But let's be realistic here. Elon Musk did not start at all these places. SpaceX was originally just supposed to be an inspiration. They were supposed to put some plants on Mars to show how to make it happen. It was supposed to be cheap. It was supposed to take a few years, no big deal. And in terms of business vision, Elon Musk, of course, started with Zip2 and X.com, which merged to become PayPal. So again, he didn't start off with, accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy. He started off with really important problems, but they were not nearly as grandiose as the ones currently. And of course, the beginning of Tesla was that he joined a couple of offbeat engineers to help get Tesla Motors off the ground and producing the Roadster 1. So the smarts, the motivation, and the drive have always been part of Elon Musk, but clearly the vision for these companies has evolved. In other words, he's a human being who has had big dreams, but they have evolved over time. And as he's become more successful, his dreams have gotten larger. It's also extremely important to point out that Elon Musk is on the autism spectrum, as he admitted himself on Saturday Night Live. But as was also obvious to those of us who share his way of looking at the world. And by the way, if you want to find out more about my particular autistic tendencies, you can catch a video on that above. What this autism means is that Elon sees things differently. He interacts with the world differently and with people differently, and he can rub people the wrong way, as Asperger's, which is high-functioning autism, people are often very poor at interpersonal interactions. And guess what? Elon Musk also makes mistakes. Most often, that's most notably Elon time. Just as a few examples, the Starship was supposed to be flying by 2019, robo-taxis were supposed to be out by the end of the year for 4 years running, human implants from Neuralink were supposed to be right around the corner, etc., etc. And of course, sometimes Elon Musk is downright wrong and makes mistakes. Recently, I would put out the Bitcoin decision because, purchasing it, announcing it, and then saying they weren't going to do anything with it anymore, I personally think was a mistake. And also the Plaid Plus cancellation was a big mistake. And guess what? This is all okay. Human beings make mistakes. What we can't argue with is that Elon Musk has massive vision and massive work ethic. Again, like I said, by many accounts, he's worked 100+ hours for decades. And I also personally like the fact that Elon Musk, especially on Twitter, seems to be a very personable, very down-to-earth person. First, yesterday, Elon said, "My primary home is literally approximately a $50,000 house in Boca Chica / Starbase, which is right where they build the starships, that I rent from SpaceX. It's kind of awesome though. Only house I own is the events house in the Bay Area. If I sold it, the house would see less use unless bought by a big family, which might happen someday. And then continuing that thread, in response to Sir Doge of the coin, Elon said, now that I've made some improvements, I'm pretty sure it's worth 69K, haha. So again, yeah, that's 12-year-old humor, right? 420, 69, etc. He loves that kind of stuff. It's numerical humor. I love it too. I'm a 12-year-old. What can I say? But anyway, I like that. It humanizes him, right? And then even more fun is his response to Tesla New York's statement that the Boring Company's LVCC loop, in other words, the Las Vegas Convention Center loop, is getting positive reviews from the first public passengers. He just said, people like it. And you know what? That's kind of cool. It just means he's happy that all the work he's put in has made a difference in people's lives. I would say that most of us, including me, are happy to solve a little problem with our lives and call it a good life. But not Elon Musk. And many people distrust him for such big goals. But thus far, he succeeded in just about everything he said he'd do. The two big maybes that are left are full self-driving and getting us to Mars. But all indications are that they're slowly happening. And yes, it's all on Elon time, but it is happening. And last but not least, as those tweets indicate, Elon Musk seems to be a fun guy. He clearly works himself and his team's crazy hours, but he'll also take time out to tweet a 12-year-old kid, or do an interview with high school students, or just say hi to random people on Twitter, and one day I hope, Elon, it'll be me. And this humanity and humility is, in my mind, what makes him one of the public figures I respect most. He's in the top fraction of a percentile of intelligence, and he's in the top percentile of motivation, and he's a true visionary. All of this is going to change the world. But Elon Musk is above all a kind individual who actually cares about the world in which he lives and worries about taking care of it and the people who live there. I mean, he just revealed he has sold most of his houses. Quote, yeah, I sold my houses except for one in the Bay Area that's rented out for events. Working on sustainable energy for Earth with Tesla and protecting future of consciousness by making life multiplanetary with SpaceX. Also AI risk mitigation with Neuralink and traffic with Boring. And that really sums it up, right? And that's also the tweet that inspired this video, in fact. So Elon Musk is a man with a vision, and he doesn't hide behind his reputation or his riches or his busy life. He's willing to interact with just about anyone who is willing to ask an intelligent question and listen. So if you're listening, Elon, here's a question for you. I don't know if it's intelligent or not, but do you plan to go to space one day? Is your dream, like mine, to actually ride the rocket? Or is it enough for you to see others do it on something you guided to creation? I'm listening. Thank you, Elon, for being a generous, kind-hearted human being above all. We don't need devils or saints, just more good people like you to make the world a better place. All right, I hope you enjoyed this episode and found it fun and interesting. If you did, definitely smash the like button. And if you like this kind of content, consider subscribing as well. Thank you. As always, a huge shout out to my patrons on Patreon. You all are wonderful. Thank you all so much for the support. We actually have a new Patreon patron shout out today. The new patron is Richard Daniels. Welcome to the club. And of course, if any of you want to join, just look in the description for the link. And for those of you interested in investing, check out WeBull, an amazing platform for buying and selling stocks, and now cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Dogecoin, and others. Open an account and get a free stock valued at up to $200, or $300 until June 17th, and fund your account and get another free stock valued at up to $1,600, or $2,000 until June 17th. Check out the link in the description and help the channel at the same time. Thank you. And of course, don't forget about our merch store, which has awesome t-shirts like Tesla Rockets for the People, Don't Mess with Tesla, other t-shirts, tumblers, mugs, etc. So check out the link in the description. And finally, don't forget we are both Tesla and Amazon affiliates. If you look in the description, you can see how clicking on a link and going shopping helps out the channel, including not just buying Teslas, but also buying Powerwalls, solar roofs, etc. So definitely check out the link in the description if you're interested in that stuff. And as always, feel free to ask me questions in the comments or at my email address, which is drknowitallknows@gmail.com. Till next time, bye-bye.